today I'm going to show you some variations of how to play Amazing Grace. So it would be good if you reviewed the previous videos about the chords in the key of C. Just as a quick review, if you're in the key of C, you're using these 7 white notes, and the chords in the key of C are built on the 7 white notes. And the main 3 chords in that key are C, F, and G. So those are the 3 chords that the simplest version of Amazing Grace is played with. So first of all, and I'm using really bad fingering so that you can see the keys a little more easily. So in the 3-chord version, it uses these chords. And I'm going to play a simple bass note in the left hand, the chord itself in the right hand. So here we go. We'd start with going C chord, Amazing Grace. Then we change to the 4 chord, the F chord, how sweet. Back to the home chord, the C chord, the sound. Still the C chord, that saved a soul. Then we go to the 5 chord, the G chord, like me. Back to the C chord, I once was lost. To the 4 chord, F, but now am found. Back to C, was blind, but G chord, now I see. Back to C chord, on the C. And again, remember when you're playing chords to always skip a finger or 2 fingers. And again, I'm playing with really bad fingers just so you can see the keys a little better. So the first variation I'll be showing you is to soften the song by adding some of the minor chords in the key of C. So C, F, and G are your major chords. Your 3 minor chords in this key are D minor, E minor, and A minor. So here's how that song would sound adding some of those chords. It would start with C, Amazing, A minor, Grace, F, how sweet. Back to the C, the sound, still the C, that saved A minor, a soul, D minor, like me. Then back to G, A minor, I once was lost. Then to F, but now. Back to C, am found, A minor, 'twas blind, D minor, but now. G, I see. So one thing to notice is that the A minor is a darker version of C. It's got 2 notes in common. So when you play C, it sounds a little happier. When you play A minor, it is just sort of a darker version of that. The same as D minor is a darker version of F. It has these 2 notes in common. And E minor is a darker version of G. So sometimes you can substitute those minor chords for the major ones when you want to just soften things a bit. In this next variation, we'll add more minor chords and some 7th chords. And what a 7th chord is that you start with your regular 1, 3, 5 chord triad. For example, here's the C chord, and to add a 7th, you go up a skip and lower that skip by half a step. And that gives you your dominant 7th sound, and that gives you this really strong leading tone that makes you just want to hear the chord change to another chord. And I'll talk more about that in another video, but for now, here we go. Variation number 3, more chords, starting with C. Amazing, C7. So we add the 7th to the C chord. Grace, go to the 4 chord, F, how sweet. Back to C, the sound, still the C chord, that saved. Then we're going to walk down to the A minor chord, a soul. Then we're going to go to D minor 7th, like me. So that's the D minor chord with a 7th added. And then we go to the G. Back to C, I once was lost, C7, to F, but now am found. Back to C, going down to A minor. So I walked the bass down from C to A, but, and if I want here, I can also walk down to F. Now, oops, sorry, now G7, So I'm thinking of the G chord and a skip up, which in this case, this is the dominant 7th, the lowered 7th already. So there's our G7 now. And then instead of going back to C right away to the home chord, we'll go to F, which is the Amen chord. C, not the C chord, but the word, now I see. Then C, so that's the classic Amen ending. So when you go F, G, and you expect it to go back to C, but instead you temporarily play F, and then if you want, you can walk the bass down to C.